So to follow up our discussion on number lines here, I want to talk a little bit about absolute value, a concept that can make a lot more sense when you picture it within the context of a number line. So an absolute value is a way of measuring a number's distance from zero. So you want to know how far away a given number is from zero. The symbol for an absolute value, you'll see it, you probably see it all over this whiteboard already, but it's going to be vertical bars, and then you put something inside of it. So you put like a number or whatever you're going to be dealing with inside. So we're going to compute a few absolute values right here. The first one says the absolute value of -3. So I'm sure some of you guys know how to do this already, but I'm going to sketch a quick number line right here. There's 0, we got -1, -2, -3. We want to know how far away -3 is from 0. Well, 1, 2, 3. It's 3 away. So the absolute value of -3 is 3. Next problem here, I have the absolute value of 5. If I put down a number line right there, there's my 0. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5's over here. I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units away. So the absolute value of 5 is 5. Now, of course, you're not going to sit there after every single problem and do that with the number line and count. You kind of get used to the fact that absolute value is basically going to be the positive version of your number. So absolute value in of itself, if you do the absolute value in a problem, your answer will always or will never be negative. If you're doing just a plain absolute value. So if I do the absolute value of some random number, my answer will not be negative. I cannot get a negative answer out when I do that. So some people will mistakenly say, oh, well, if the absolute value of -3 is +3, that means the absolute value of 5 is -5. That's not the case. It's always a positive answer, or 0, if you happen to get that. For my second two problems right here, absolute values can have multiple things going on with them. You see we have two numbers inside this absolute value right here. So in this situation, you're going to treat your absolute values, like parentheses, in the sense that you're going to do what's on the inside first. So I'm going to do the inside of my absolute value before I deal with it at all. I'm not going to make this positive 11 or anything like that. I'm going to do the inside. So 5 minus 11 is -6. This is really the absolute value of -6, which is +6. The second problem right here, or this fourth problem, number 4, is something that looks like it's not too bad, but I'm always shocked at how many kids get problems like this wrong. The ACT will throw a question like this out there, and lots of people miss it. Again, treat the absolute values like they're parentheses. This guy is 2 minus 5. That's really the absolute value of -3. Minus 2 plus 5, that's the absolute value of 7. Well, the absolute value of -3, I'm going to kind of do the absolute value now. It's going to spit out a +3. Absolute value of 7, still just 7. And we're subtracting right there. So 3 minus 7, my actual answer is a -4. People will look at that and be like, well, don't I have to make it positive? You can't have a negative answer when you're doing an absolute value problem. That's a kind of a common misconception. It's one you want to definitely avoid. If you have just an absolute value like right over here, then you know your answer can be positive. But when you start subtracting things, multiplying by numbers on the outside, you can and will end up with negative answers from time to time. So you did each parenthesis or each absolute value separately, got your answers right there and subtracted them. You ended up with a negative, and that's okay.